praying for these children to be rescued. It would have really been good, and for us to wake up in the morning and to find out that they have been released, because I still continue to think about the fact that what is the crime of these children? Is the crime that they have committed? Is it being getting education? Is it being a child in Nigeria? Yes, we say that they are the endangered species. But when you watch all the videos that have been sent, the beheading of the teacher and all that, you really have to think back and ask yourself these questions and several more. What is government doing? What is Nigerian government doing? What are the heads of security, chiefs? What are they doing? What is the president of this country doing to ensure that these children are rescued? The House of Reps and all that, I know they are also demanding, but everybody should, ensure that these children are rescued. It's a responsibility not just for individuals, but even the government and all the stakeholders involved to ensure that these children are rescued. It's really a sad one. For 2 weeks now, we are still expecting that they'll be released. It's going into 3 weeks now. I just hope that they will be rescued. And I saw in one of the reports, I actually thought you were going to mention it, where I think one of the House of Rep members in Oyo State saying that they will not change what is in the Constitution because of children that have been kidnapped. And for me, I'm like, excuse me, if you had your own children or your child there, will you be saying this? Gone are the days when we said, don't pay ransom, don't do this. But I'm saying even the little empathy should have shown in that comment. If you don't want to turn the Constitution upside down, that is not even an issue. But the fact that you should have empathy for those children that have been kidnapped, is that the last solution that we have? Is the last solution about turning the Constitution upside down? So it's really sad the way some of our political office holders are handling this matter. And it's so sad to see that for a country that is saying Nigerian children, they are the future, for us to be in this kind of situation, and there's no urgency about it. It's as if normal business is going every day. People are just doing their own thing. I really feel that House of Reps member should have thought of what he wanted to say before saying it out. Because to me, it doesn't show it doesn't even show concern, because turning the Constitution upside down is not the last result. There are ways that you can come out and communicate your ideas or your views to the people without mentioning that. We are talking about lives here. We know what happened with the Chibok girls. We know that Dapchi girl is still there. It would have been good to talk about solutions, not the opposite, comment that he was making. It's really sad. A leader, for that matter, is really sad. And I hope that the president, I'm speaking directly to the president now, President Tinubu, should do something about that. Our security operatives, our service chiefs, we appreciate what you are doing, but you can go extra mile for these children. We must not lose these children to those who kidnap them.
I everything you said, yes, I absolutely agree with. But the question really is, are we expecting any better from the government officials that we have? They are known to not know how to talk. That's my colloquial translation directly from Yoruba. They don't know how to talk. They are very, very insensitive. Hilda Dokubo came out to say, to say to the president, can you just try and imagine the kind of pain that we're in? Because for her, it looks like, sir, if you understood the kind of pain that we're in, you will not be speaking this way. Yesterday on the show, one of the headlines that we raised was, I was so tempted to bring it up with you, but since we're even here, was the president's wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, when speaking to women, distributing cards to APC leaders, telling them to tell Nigerians of Tinubu's achievements. And I was so flabbergasted. I was irritated because I was like, hold on a minute. Do you mean to say that you don't know what is going on in Nigeria? Like, we've not heard you speak about these children in the forest. We've not heard you speak about, the state of insecurity. All you keep saying is, oh, the insecurity is trying to threaten your husband's return. But then now you're telling the women that they should help spread the word about the achievements of Tinubu. Not one single word about what is going on with insecurity. And that's why I say sometimes I'm surprised at myself that I'm surprised at what they do and the things that they say. Because how are you the first lady of Nigeria and you're not saying anything about these children? Children as little as 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
As well with our country. Anyway, let's get into it this morning. WAEC exams run into the night again. Parents protest. We're working on this. This is from the Vanguard newspaper. And when I saw this, I said, especially on the heels of insecurity in Nigeria, like, how will WAEC be fixing exam for late in the nights? If you recall, at the time last year, this same thing occurred where students were writing their exams at 10 in the night, at 12 in the night. And I was like, are you people serious? Let me get into it. So checks across several centers in Lagos, particularly on the Lagos Island and in Lekki axis, revealed that the delays became more pronounced this week because WAEC exams have started. On Monday, physics papers 2 and 1 were scheduled between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Who schedules an exam for 2 p.m. and 5 p.m.? Then they scheduled them at those times, but they did not start on time. The candidates were writing the second paper as late as 8 p.m. The essay paper on Wednesday that was slated for 9:30 to noon and the objectives scheduled for 3 p.m. to 4:30 were reportedly concluded around 10 p.m. What are we doing in this country? Candidates scheduled for agricultural science practical were still waiting for examination materials several hours after the paper was slated to begin. So in some examination centers, the materials had not even arrived. A school principal who spoke anonymously expressed disappointment over these recurring challenges. He said, why are we experiencing this again after what happened last year? Apart from the security concern in this country, these delays could have psychological effects on the candidates. Imagine preparing for an exam scheduled for noon time and then writing it for 7 p.m. Adeton, what say you? This one is a lot.
You know, when I was actually looking at the report, what just came to my mind, this is actually abnormal. It's absurd, you know, for students to be writing exam around that time. I remember during our own time, once they say it's 9 a.m. is 9 a.m., 10 a.m. is 10 a.m. You know, even if you are writing any paper that is in the afternoon, they seek by that time. Probably the civil service is really growing weak. I think that's what I feel. Because they are all in the category of civil service. So I feel probably the people we have there, they are not disciplined enough to keep to time. And then the main INEC body, don't forget that INEC is not just in Nigeria. INEC is in Ghana, you know, and some African countries. And so if we have the one in Nigeria, despite the fact that they know we have security issues in Nigeria at this time, and then you allow such exams to drag that long for students, they are even making the children to be at risk. That's just it. Because for a child to finish around 9, 10, I mean, the roads are not even secured again. Not to talk of the fact that we are still looking at how do we curb the security situation in Nigeria. Yeah. And then it's no longer funny again. Parents are, you know, the hypertension rate now will start growing up because your parents are not at rest until they see their children come home safely. Exactly. And so it's not just psychological effect for the students, even for the parents and the guardians also. They are going through this. And I feel that the exam body should really look at this. Yes, what happened last year shouldn't repeat itself. Is it that we don't learn from past experiences? Is it that we don't take home, you know, some lessons, some missing gaps, so that we can close that gap and then work towards a better, you know, a result going forward? But it seems WAEC is just not working from what I can see. There's no discipline again. I mean, with the people working there right now, and even for the head, the person leading, what is his perception about what is going on? You know, you don't have any excuse. This is not INEC, where INEC will say that they want to start election by so time, and then you use the whole day. Are we turning WAEC into INEC? Because this is actually what is also happening, where materials are not delivered when they are supposed to be delivered. You know, when students are having this exam, you had a long time to prepare, to get all the materials for each subject to all the schools. Even for those centers that we call special centers. So they had enough time to prepare. But I feel that I'm seeing a lackadaisical attitude from the staff of WAEC. I'm seeing lack of integrity. I'm seeing the fact that the staffs are not disciplined enough to keep to time. What do you tell students who don't finish within 1 hour? Then the invigilator starts, he starts shouting, 5 minutes more, 10 minutes more. Meanwhile, the examination body also has no respect for time.
Yeah.
It's really sad. It's really sad. But I feel that WAEC should, look for a way around this and make sure that children are safe. For the fact that they're writing exam doesn't mean that we should put their life at risk. It's really sad that we have come to this.
Even what about the psychological effect on those children? And I'm trying to put my, in fact, it's not I'm trying to put, I feel like every Nigerian has gone through a situation whereby maybe you went for an interview or you went for an appointment and they told you the appointment was for maybe 9 o'clock, you got there for 8 o'clock, and by 10 o'clock, they hadn't even started. 12 o'clock, they hadn't even started. And the impact it has upon you. You're wondering, when are we going to start? If it's an interview, all that you have prepared for, you are hoping to God that it doesn't fly away from your head. If it's maybe a test you're going to write, all those aptitude tests that organizations require for candidates, you're hoping and praying. If maybe you had planned that, okay, I'll be done by my interview I've done my interview by maybe 12 o'clock. I can do other things. Maybe you didn't eat before you went for the interview. That's another matter entirely, because you will now be hungry. And hunger and waiting, they don't do well together, especially when you're waiting for something important. So they're not even thinking about the psychological effect that it has on the children. Yesterday, I was talking to someone and someone said, look, that we are constantly traumatized in this country. Like, if you find a Nigerian who is sane, like, if you dig in a little bit, check them. Maybe they are not, because this is trauma at the early stage of a child's life. Even with these children that are in abduction, imagine a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old not seeing their parents for how many days now? About 20 days, I think we are at. And imagine the trauma that child faces. I don't know. We're begging WAEC at this point. And this thing, we've seen it infiltrate every facet of our society, whether it is voting. Like, the way my heart is beating, even for this voting for next year, for elections for next year, because I'm just so worried as to, are we going to wait? Are we going to, I think the last elections, they were still doing votes. They were still voting up until late in the night. Yes, in the last election. It just worries me, because can't Nigeria just work? Can't it just work?
That's one question that we have to answer individually. And, as a citizen of this country, it begs for answers, even though we have not seen the answers. The issue with time becomes the order of the day when people don't keep up and they don't see anything wrong in it. As someone will say, if you fix a time for a particular event, just give it Africa, not even African time, Nigerian time, because people won't show up when you expect. And as you said, it's cutting across all, sectors, and it has become like a norm for us, So I also feel that the changes begins from us when we are able to change that individually. That's why I talked about the discipline on the part of the staff of WAEC as well. No matter the delays, then this exam is here. You've had a long time to prepare for it. And the funny thing is that there's no apology coming across to say, oh, this is actually what delayed it. We are sorry and all that. It just shows you that it becomes the normal thing, and people don't see anything wrong in it. But I'm saying that for WAEC, if for whatever reasons these things are happening, let's look at what is going on in the country right now as regards to insecurity, so that these children will not be at the mercy of someone, attacking them or kidnapping them because they are going home late. Even if you are coming from your work or from the office, you also have to be cautious. You also have to be, be aware of the environment where you are to ensure you get home safely. Not talk of children writing exams, and then we are opening up an avenue for different things to happen as regards to insecurity. I just hope that they would, do something about this, and let's just have these children, safe, back home. And the fact that they will write another paper the following day, that's another issue for them to know, to be able to put their heads together. Even if you stay for 1 hour, 2 hours before your exam, you can get into exam when you are jittery, you are anxious. Before you know it, for like how many seconds you are looking at the question paper, you don't even know where to start from. So I feel that WAEC can do better. It's an appeal. Let them just do something better for the sake of the security situation for these children.
Awesome. All right. Well, this is the Women Radio 91.7 FM, and we've been speaking with our analyst for today, Adeton Adebogun, who's come from her long sojourn. I'm going to say this thing until the end. But yeah, you're listening to Women Radio 91.7 FM. The phone lines are now open: 07000 917 917 or 0800 1235 917. You can send your text messages to 0703 1756 537 or 08155 917 917. Let's take these messages. Kidnapping in the middle of Ibadan. The people in government keep trading accusations and excuses instead of working. Whether you inherited the problem or not, you contested and won. The responsibilities were not forced on you. You begged, you campaigned, and you asked for them. This is a gross failure on the part of the president and the governors of all the states involved. This is from Olusoga Ajayi from Odunla Ikorodu. Very, very well said. Interestingly, yesterday I don't know how true it is, that they said the story I saw was that Governor Shey Makinde had said he will be able to sort out the issue of kidnapping when he becomes president. I said, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Next up, we have this one from Additional Wasiu in Ikorodu. He says, good morning to you in the studio. Nothing works in this country, and my worry is about insecurity, which has now come to be part of our lives to the extent that students and teachers have been kidnapped for almost 3 weeks now, and our security is unable to do anything as at today. I think I want to bring people's attention to the ongoing WAEC exam. This late examination may put the students at risk of being kidnapped by these criminal elements. We must be very careful not to fall into the hands of these criminals. Thank you so much for that as well. Okay, we're going to move to the next one. This one I thought was so interesting. I don't know if you've been seeing the back and forth between Weekdays aide Larry Olayinka and Emeka Eke. Basically, Emeka Eke, I think he's trying to go for House of Reps position. Larry Olayinka had posted screenshots of what should be private, which is Emeka Eke's details on the voter register, shared it on online, and that's how we saw it. And so the big question is, should we be worried? No, isn't this cause for worry? Because if you're sharing private details of individuals, what happens to the rest of us? What happens to protection of data? What happens to the Privacy Act? Right. So according to the INEC spokesman, they say that the commission's a particular official of INEC had checked his details on the CVR after he led protesters to the office on Friday, alleging that some officials of the NDC were at the INEC FCC office. So Emeka Eke, an actor, is an aspirant seeking to represent AMAC Buhari Federal Constituency in the House of Reps under the ADC. In criticizing Emeka Eke, Larry Olayinka had made a post featuring the screenshots from the voter register, revealing that he had transferred from his polling unit to the FCT just about 2 weeks ago. Of course, this drew public attention. Should we be worried about the security of our data? Like, isn't this illegal, because this means unauthorized access to the commission systems? But then the INEC is saying that no, that nobody hacked us, nothing happened like that. However, the INEC official has been arrested who must have accessed Emeka Eke's details, shared it with the AMAC electoral officer, who then sent it also to Larry Olayinka. What say you, Adeto? Just
Why,
to
why,
say
why,
you.
why is it that we have only one person arrested? What happened to Larry Olayinka? He should
Exactly.
also be arrested. From what I know about some of our laws in Nigeria, you don't even intrude on someone's privacy, whether you did it directly or someone sent it to you. And so that's an infringement on the rights of that person and
Yeah.
the person's privacy. So why are we actually arresting only the INEC official? Because when I saw this, I was like, what's going on here? We have two people who actually did this. Why do we have just one person being arrested? Who is Larry Olayinka that he cannot be arrested for what he
Yeah.
did? And just as you said, it also means that when it comes to elections and privacy, what
Yeah.
INEC is telling us is that anybody can just do anyhow. If
Yeah.
WAEC database had not been hacked, and now you know that somebody actually did that, what is the punishment? What is the consequences of that? Lay it out and let everybody be aware of it. If we've not seen something like this before and somebody is doing it, I want to believe that there are laws, guiding some of this kind of act. And I feel that it's really wrong. And whoever it is, Larry Olayinka, whatever it is, should apologize to Emeka Ike for such act. I mean, you are putting somebody's privacy out there to everybody. What business? Because you don't want him to contest, because you don't want him to win the election, or because of what? Because you want to get to that power seat. And it's really, for me, for someone who goes to that extent to do such, and I've not seen in the report that he mentioned that it was a mistake. So that means what he did was actually intentional. It was for a cause. And then also going forward, I feel that INEC should try as much as possible to have, is it orientation now, training with its officials. I feel so sad most times when we read about these election issues and you find most of INEC staff or electoral officers involved in some of these criminal activities, and you wonder what is actually going on. If the officials themselves are not disciplined, if the officers themselves are not patriotic enough to keep confidential information or to work within the principles of INEC,
Yeah.
they are a regulatory body, but you find out that most of their staffs are the ones causing commotion during election, either after or before, or
Yeah.
even before or during the election. And so I feel that INEC should take this as a caution. They should walk over it and be able to, have sort of an orientation training with their staffs, because it's really, I will use this word, unbecoming of their staffs to be involved in things like this. When you look for vote buyers involved up and down between parties and candidates and electorates, you will always find one INEC officials identified in it. They will always be in the middle of things. And I feel that this is not, it's not really right. It's not patriotism. And then you are also giving INEC a bad image to the citizens as well. Because if you have, officers who cannot work within the laid down guidelines of INEC, we are talking about campaigning against vote buying, violence here and there, snatching of ballot boxes, you will always find an INEC officials involved in it, in that kind of scenario. So I feel that INEC should really look into it, and then let's see what the law will say. Larry Olayinka should also be arrested. He was actually even the one that should be the first priority before coming down to the INEC official.
Exactly.
So what are we saying? Are we saying that some people are above the law? And even if he had reasons for doing that, I mean, it's really absurd. You don't do that in election time for whatever reasons you have. And then I also learned that through, I think I saw where I there was one particular part where he says they got the information from someone's daughter's phone or something like that. You are even putting that girl at risk for involving her, because if she wasn't involved somehow and her details or whatever will not come into this report. The official was said to have used her daughter's phone to take the screenshots. For what reasons? Why are you involving a minor? Is he a teenager now? In election issues, and now she's right there in the report. I think we should really be careful, because I know that if she wasn't part of this, from the information gathered, the press wouldn't bring it out. And then if the press was not that lenient enough to hide such, there's also a part of reporting that we also need to be careful about, especially when it concerns children, when it concerns, is it the female child, I will talk about it. But, revolving around minors and teenagers, there's actually a way we can have this report made. It's not that you will lie, it's not that you compromise, but I think, putting this out there, you also endangers that girl's life. And for the INEC official, it's really, really sad, that things can really get out of hand the way it is.
Thank you so much for that. We still have our phone lines open, 07000 917 917 and 0800 1235 917. Please keep your messages coming in. 0703, we have a call. Hello, good morning. Oh, the call is gone. Please do well to call us back on 07000 917 917 or 0800 1235 917. Our text message, send a text message, WhatsApp messages, or voice notes to 0703 175 6537. We have a call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Evangelist Dixon. How are you?
Good morning. In Nigeria, I always talk about you. You and Madam Buki.
We're having difficulty hearing you, Evangelist Dixon. Rachel, can you hear me in the studio? The line isn't clear. Please do well to call us back. If you're using the 07000, please try the 0800 line. Let's hear your contribution. 0800 1235 917 or 0700 1235. Beg your pardon. 07000 917 917 or 0800 1235 917. We have a voice note to be played. Rachel, are you ready? Oh, we have another call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Can hear you. Good morning.
Okay, we can hear. We can hear you now.
Okay, good morning. Good morning for me. As I was saying, anytime Madam Adetun is on board and Buki, I always spend time listening to them because they give me hope that Nigeria will be great again. When we have to Nigeria, people who love the country, people who love this country, not those who have their children. And I ask anybody not to have their children. The people that made America Britain what it is. If you don't stay back and repair concerning our children, Japa. No, east, west, home is the best. We should learn to do what it is. That's a question you ask for me. They can't Nigeria work? Nigeria work if we first have the fear of God, love our country, love ourselves. These insecurities, it's all about politics. I'm telling you, it was not like before. Hey, can you remember anytime the election is coming, it's always more. Not with very one candidate or the other. During the time of military, don't see all these things. Who know you? Because if you do nonsense, they give you nonsense. They pay you with your own coins. But look at the Omataka. Since how many years they get justice? Just since 4 years, 3 years. They're supposed to take more than 6 months. And tell me, and this will not they say death sentence. Let's see whether they will kill them or not. And when all these things is we are pampering, somebody is calling them prodigal son. Now that anybody that call them prodigal means that there's something happening. Where are the list of those people that are sponsoring these people? They gave us the list. And even the opposition, what they're supposed to do, they are not doing it. Now I want me to go for opposition. Where are the lists? Those things. I don't know whether you listen to what that Lawal spoke about Atiku. And I've been saying that, you say, all this is because all these guys, all these other people condemn them. Have you listened to this way that this is? What has this say? And I pause. Sometimes I don't allow Nigerian problem to, disturb them. Because I know these people that are trying to kidnap, if you are even experiencing, if not even the children, the parents. The day my children, I told you what I did to my side. There was either this same child, his friend wanted to use him. They took him away. For 3 days, first day, second day, third day. That was what led to my wife's high blood pressure to today. But I said, God, if their own children, I'm a little caretaker. And thank God the first day he came back. Wait till today, my wife said, what did I do to me? Even if they come back, their parents, one of them will not be the same. It's trying to do what is right. Yes, the government are doing the wrong thing. Should we also do the wrong thing? I told you I've retired. I'm not able to access my money. Those way that I do are young people. If you go to say, bring this, bring that, some of us are tired, you left the money for them. And they will use it to buy cars, they are saying we can. And tomorrow we see church. Pastor is not telling them the truth. Imam is not telling them the truth. Politicians are just making all them. Tell me, when we gather, when we are doing the wrong thing praying, we God answer our prayer. We God answer our prayer. We all need to change. Nigeria must talk. So depend on all of us. We need to carry your car to mechanic and I see what it is. I'm building something. If you are not there, where they're supposed to use 6 bags, they use 1 bag. And this person will say, come on, we am buying some fruit. That woman is using carbide. I noticed recently, banana and the plantain. I said no to. If we want everyone to make money, and this will come out and be blaming the president. God is watching us all. It's a matter of time. Nigeria, we need to change you. We need to change. Total change of mind for this country to God. I still believe. I still have hope. God bless you. God bless Nigeria. Thank you. Adeton. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evangelist Dixon, for your message. Okay, Rachel, let's play the voice notes, please.
Oh, what a beautiful weekend it is to hear the voice of Madam Adeton this morning and our sweetheart, Madam Kumi. Good morning and welcome to the air. Yes, Mr. Prince on the line. Madam Adeton, have you thought about it? Some days ago, I don't know, it has been on the headline. I just decided to probe it in my brain yesterday night throughout to see what is going on. Like what you just said about the House of a rep member who stood up to do the nonsense he said. I was trying to look at Nigeria. Why would people said no to probing of the spending of Nigerian Commonwealth or military? Oshomole said, let us probe, let us find out what has been happening. Billions being spent on this military, overhauling and so on, yet nothing is happening. And they said no to that voice. Why did they do that? It's Madam Adeton. Do we know what is really going on in this country? I was seated in front of my house yesterday. A young man he was a colleague in my company, first company then, about 2018, 2019. And this young man walked up to me, whom I know very well, doing well then. I said, please, all I need is just 1,000 to eat. 1,000. He said, I have applied in many places. I am talking of second class upper graduate. Not anyhow, mathematics. Hello. In fact, Madam Adeton, look at Nigerian children writing WAEC. I was watching them passing through my environment in Lagos, passing through my own frontage. 8 to 9 yesterday, and I called one of the girls, where are you coming from on uniform? He said, we just finished exam, and you are trekking by this time. Please, what is happening? Who is doing this to us? I with the auction of God upon my life. Everyone sitting on the head of Nigeria's progress. Anyone using Nigeria's blood to do trade by barter. Whatever it is that has possessed the leaders of this nation, oh God of heaven, come down in your person. Disgrace them out openly. My Father, who is saying no to the joy of your people, whoever is rejoicing over the sadness of the majority in this country, Lord, we cry to become a nation. Lord, our land, the same way you pass through the land of Egypt, pass through the land of Nigeria, sweep away everything that does not give you glory in this land. Lord, we don't care anymore. If it is time for us to divide the country for us. Let orchestrate what will push the heart of the people to confront the evil. Lord, if it is for you for us to be one, keep us united, but defeat evil for us in the name of Jesus. Until the people wake up, nothing happens. Nigerians, prepare yourself ahead of 2027. If you do not wake up, I said it yesterday, if you say your vote in 2027, 2,000, 1,000, out of to say your vote, you will suffer. You will suffer, your family will suffer. We will not know peace if this man made mistake to return again. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Prince, for that. Yeah, I mean, we if you are still if you're a Nigerian and you are not worried about the state of things in Nigeria, I don't know what to say to you. If you are a Nigerian and you're not worried about your safety, you're not worried about the economy, you're not worried about life in general, your standard of living, I don't know what to say. And me, I will not. Okay, our last headline for this morning, we still have a bit of one more and a bit of time to discuss this one. You're still tuned to Women Radio 91.7 FM, the voice of women, Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families. My name is Fumi Bangbala. The time right now is 14 minutes after 8, and we've been speaking to our analyst for this morning, Adetong Adebogun. This last headline is from the Premium Times newspaper: Electoral Act gaps, money politics locking women out of 2027 party primaries, says advocates. On Wednesday, I attended a Twitter space, that had, it was a coalition of different people from women's rights organizations, Austin Aigbe, Cynthia, Mbamalu, Bukola Shonibare, Tong Okewale, NLB, Eber, like there were quite a few of them, and their complaint was, first of all, they've been at the forefront of spearheading the special seats bill, but now that is even looking like it's happening, they started to look into what's been happening, in the primaries, and we've had this conversation as well on political arena. Post-primary audit of the political parties has found that there's been loopholes, number one, in the Electoral Act, costly nomination forms, consensus arrangements, money politics, amongst others, are things that are limiting women's participation and chances of emerging as candidates, right? And on this space, we were given numbers as to how the number of women, the percentage of women in the upper house and lower house have been reducing per cycle, right? Now, Cynthia Mbamalu, a gender and human rights advocate, had said that the Electoral Act of 2026 this year limits party primaries to direct and consensus modes, which failed to provide clear guidelines for direct primaries. And she said this has now weakened transparency, that ordinarily these primaries should have been a saving grace for marginalized groups, especially women, but the way parties implemented them closed that space. Also speaking, Okewale Shonaya, who's the executive director of Voice of Women Empowerment, also accused political parties of institutionalizing exclusion through consensus arrangements and opaque candidate selection processes. I said that women who met all party primaries were frequently asked to step down or be replaced. Now, if you cast your mind back to what was happening in the Surulere constituency between Desmond Elliott and Honorable Barakat, you will see that the last time there was the election, she was asked to step down for him. And then this time around again, he wanted to go for a fourth term, saying that no, it's him. So all these things are what seem to be working against women. And in a country where women make up about 49%, 49.5, almost 50% of Nigeria's over 200 million population, however, we're holding just 4% of the National Assembly seats, 4.7% of the State Assembly seats, no governorship positions. Women are absent in 14 states' House of Assembly. This is really, 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 really alarming. Now, Buki Shonibare of Invictus Africa presented some crucial data of how, like I mentioned earlier, female representation has been reducing since 1999, since Nigeria became a democratic nation. In 2019, it was 8.2%. 2023 was 5.6%, right? Right about now is less than 5%. If this doesn't make you wonder or panic or be worried, I don't know what else should be. And I'm glad that Adetong is even here, because this is a conversation that I've been having time and time again on the need for women to be represented, in governance, the need for them. Austin Aigbe, who is like one of our biggest he for she's, had said that these numbers, these figures that we're looking at, will definitely nosedive based off of what we have seen in the primaries. the odds that it will reach 2% are high. Less than 3% is very, very high. So this coalition now called on political parties to say, look, we need to publish gender disaggregated data on women who purchased forms, who were screened, who were asked to step down. Last week, we had Chief Osasu Oguche Benedion, and she said some of the women that they've been training that are in their school were told to step down. It seems like I'm overflowing the issue, but I want us to be able to understand that we don't have representation in governance in the House of Assembly at all, because we have just four women out of 109 senators. Colon Shannon. But yeah, I'm just gonna hand over to Adeton, because I'm tired. I've gone for conferences on the reserve seats, on the special seats bill. Nothing has happened. I'm glad that it's the men that I think it was the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu of the House of Reps, the House of Assembly, that sponsored the bill for the special seats. And then we have men that are he for she's. But it just seems like we're fighting a losing battle. But yes, over to you, Adeton.
Well, that's a big one, actually. I don't see us fighting a battle that is already lost. I'm saying a battle that needs a lot of strategy. I'm saying a battle that needs a lot of legislation being turned around. I'm saying a battle where, as I mentioned, most of our political parties do not have the right ideologies. If they know that there's been a move for the special seats bill for women, and yet in their political parties, of course, with the screening of the primary candidates and all that, nothing has been done largely to have more women, even during the stage of primaries and all that, getting to the primaries. Within the political parties, I don't see women being put forward. As I mentioned, I think a couple of weeks ago when we were having some of these discussions, I mentioned that it starts with the political parties. If a political party do not have like 5 women being move forward to say, okay, we have 5 women, we have some men as well, from this statistics of 5 women and some men, let's see how we can have most of the women, move forward to the level of the primaries. I also mentioned that it is the level of the primaries that you really know if a party or a political party is really serious about inclusive governance. Because really, if you look at it, primaries is the first stage before the person is put out, out there to say, oh yeah, this is the candidate under so-so political party for so-so position. So if they don't get to the primaries, how do we bring them forward for people to even vote for them? And I mentioned that if we have a low percentage of women in the primaries, it means that we won't have more women out there for other women to vote for. And so from that primaries, you've already, reduced the numbers of women, if there's even any, that goes across that line. And then if you also look at it, over the years, if you look at most political parties, at least I can talk about PDP and APC and some other political parties, when you look for aspirants between the men and the women, you also find out that we have low women as aspirants, you know. So it all begins with the ideology of the parties. It's not just about reducing the nomination fee or whatever fee that they collect, in the party for them to be part of the aspirant. It also has to do with moving them to the level of primaries. It gets to a stage whereby you don't tell a woman to step down because a man is coming forward. Let them be a car. Let's see. It is not about the gender now. We are saying this seat is not for you to sidetrack the men, but let the women have an opportunity. Let men also have an opportunity. And then let's decide and say, from this position, we want a man, we want a woman. Or invariably, let's just have more women so that when they get to the primaries, we will have some that will qualify to the stage of putting them out there to the public, and then women will be able to vote for them. I've seen some posters where women are, already on the posters of some political parties. I really do commend those political parties that have given, that vote of confidence on those women. But we have the major parties, APCs, PDPs, what are they doing? This election is not just about the men. This election is about the future of the country as regards to inclusive governance. And that's why you see that even the legislation is not, encompassing with women on the round table who are deciding. The legislation is majorly by men deciding. So how do we move when the legislation is not favorable? How do we move when the parties don't get women to the primaries level, and from there they are out there? These are problems that we need to address before we can now say, oh, we have 10, 20 women out there against 10 men. So that women can now say, oh, out of these 20 men, out of these 10 men, let's see, who we can vote for. And preferably, of course, let's vote for women. So the party has an issue. It's not just reducing the nomination form, as I said. It's not just about you saying, oh, we have more women in our party that is, contesting. Get them to the primary level so that at the end of the day, we have women on ground, just like other parties have done. And I think this issue is majorly with APC and PDP, which should be addressed. There's a lot, that needs to be put in place. But I just hope that we can be tired. We just have to continue to raise our voice. Advocacy is very important, but the right legislation to incorporate this, for women is also very, very important. If we can do that, I think we would have taken a step ahead, from where we are coming from.
Yeah, on that note, we have come to the end of the Daily News Review program this morning. It's been quite a morning talking about Nigeria's issues. Please, like I said yesterday, take care of your heart. If you feel like Nigeria's issues are getting to you too much, leave social media, because right now there's so much news. But I also want to send a note to people who are fear-mongering. That's the way I can put it. Please, fear-mongering is not going to help anybody. Don't spread false news. Even the news that you're spreading, don't exaggerate in the way that, oh, it's worse than it is. Yes, we know the state of Nigeria, but don't make, because people's hearts are fragile. People have health conditions that they cannot bear to hear all this so much negative news. So please, let's okay, thank you so much, Adeton, for coming on the program today. Enjoy your weekend ahead of you.
Thank you so much, Fumi. Thank you.
Many thanks to my producer this morning, Rachel, this morning, for producing me in the studio. 9 o'clock is the news, 9:05 is her lens. Do not go anywhere. This is still Women Radio 91.7 FM. Enjoy the rest of your day.